Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the start of a brand new Dominions 5 adventure, and you can see from this screen, this one's going to be a little different. In this game, I am playing Middle-Age Ermor. I've talked a little bit about Middle-Age Ermor before. I don't believe I've done a full strategy video on them, but I will do one soon. In fact, you'll probably see it before this video goes up. Just because Middle-Age Ermor is... I have talked about them before. Middle-Age Ermor is an incredibly different nation from most of the nations in the game, and in some ways it's extremely frustrating to play as or against. In some ways it's kind of fun. So, let's jump into the game, shall we? Okay, apologies about the, if you saw a break there was a minor map issue which has since been resolved. So, I'm playing as Middle-Age Ermor, and Middle-Age Ermor, of course, is the, basically the zombie apocalypse in nation form. And so you have no units to recruit whatsoever. This screen will never come up for Ermor unless you find some independents that you want to recruit. Furthermore, Ermor's Dominion kills population and spawns skeletons. More skeletons in forts, more skeletons where you have a temple. Furthermore, you get a huge amount of death gem income from your capital-only site, the Unholy Sepulchre, and every temple generates death gems. But it can't exceed your Dominion's strength. So whatever your Dominion strength is up here, you can't get more death gems per month from your temples than that number. So I'm starting with 8. I'll go over my god shortly here. I'm going to have to back out of the game in order to do that and then go into the god screen. So, you can also see my current bless effects. I get plus morale, plus attack skill, plus decay weapons, HP, and strength plus 4. It's a pretty heavy rainbow bless, and that's because Ermor has free spawn sacreds in addition to free spawn random skeletons. Scales-wise, I took garbage scales all the way across the board because they don't matter to me, except I took luck 3 and I took magic 3. So I have very high luck, I have very high magic, I have an excellent chance of getting gem-generating events, and I have a good chance of getting heroes, which is really good because Ermor's national heroes are crazy. At least one of them is absolutely crazy. In terms of income, I don't have any. In terms of province defense, I have undead province defense. So I have long dead legionnaires, which are special Ermorian long dead with large shields and javelins and decent defense skill. I have long dead veletae. I have long dead horsemen, which are the standard long dead. I have a mound king, and I have a censor. So censors are the commander version of my sacreds, the lictors. High strength, decent protection, high hit points, and a powerful two-handed weapon that hits for a lot of damage. Now they also have a chill aura, as many undead have, and of course they're undead and poison and cold resistant. So, I'm figuring I can probably do some work with them. I start with a whole lot of corpses here. I am making Gravesoul, my censor, the prophet. I also start with a spectator. Now since I cannot recruit mages, all of my mages after this one have to be summoned. I have a number of 0 research national summoning spells. I can revive lictors, my sacreds, one of my sacreds. I can revive censors, which are the commander lictors. I can revive acolytes, which are holy 1 priests, bishops, which are holy 2, archbishops, which are holy 3. I can revive spectators, which are death 2 mages, and I can revive dusk elders, which are death mages with some fire, some astral, and an elemental random. So, all very cool. I'm researching with Eder for 1 turn because what I want to do is I want to revive another spectator, and I don't quite have enough gems for that. My gem income is currently 10, and it takes 12. So, next turn, Eder will set to reviving spectators, and he will revive like 5 in a row. At which point I'll have basically run out of death gems unless I find some more. Research-wise, since I'm a death nation, obviously enchantment is an excellent path to go down. Gets me down to, I don't really need Horde of Skeletons so much because I already have a ton of skeletons, but Pale Riders would be a good one. It gets me down to this spell, Ermorian Legion, which spawns 50 long dead legionnaires for 15 death gems, which is pretty cool. And then all the usual high-level death spells. Conjuration is really good for me because, as I go up Conjuration, I get access to Lictorian Guard, which summons a bunch of lictors at once for a relatively small number of gems. And then eventually I do get Lamentation, which summons Wailing Ladies that have an AoE attack. And Great Lamentation. And then I get Lictorian Legion, which summons lictors for less than 2 gems each, and a bunch of them. So, if I get up to there, lictors are really pretty solid sacreds. I also want construction, of course, because I want to be forging death items. In particular, because there's one death item in particular that gives you extra lictors when you summon lictors, which is a fantastic item because lictors are great, and if you can get them cheaply, you can see here they're normally 3 gems for 1. If you're wearing a black laurel, you get 3 gems for 3, which is a really good deal. Army-wise, my starting army is garbage. It's just 30 random skeletons. So, that's fine. They are, of course, Ermorian special skeletons. So half of them are velites with low protection but high defense, and half of them actually do have protection and defense, and they also have spears and javelins. So they're not bad. They're pretty solid. You'll get other long-dead troops, special troops, every turn, basically. This province will free spawn undead this turn. It has some population, so it'll free spawn some special undead, I believe, and then it's corpses, so it'll spawn soulless or long dead or things like that. And since it has an upgraded fortress and a temple, it will spawn more and better undead. So this is going to be a very, very interesting game. Ermor is, how do I put it? Ermor is kind of an interesting problem for everyone in the game. It's a problem for Ermor because Ermor really has to be on the ball with diplomacy to avoid getting totally ganged up on by everyone. And it's a problem for everyone else because everyone wants to kill Ermor because of the popkill dominion. But if you attack Ermor, you don't get much because all the population is dead. So there's not a whole lot of income, there's not a whole lot of resources, and your armies may well starve and die. So given all that, people aren't all that enthusiastic about attacking Ermor. They're enthusiastic about Ermor being attacked, sort of in abstract. They're not typically too enthusiastic about actually doing the attacking. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Up north, I do have a little bit of a choke point right there. I would love to secure some provinces that actually have income, because that will allow me to build more forts and temples, and I do need to build forts and temples. So like this province, I want to take this province. And basically, early in the game, I want to try to outpace my dominion, take a bunch of provinces that have income, build forts, build temples, get that going. Later in the game, I will want to use my dominion as a weapon and be spreading it ahead of me so that I can inflict these awful, awful, horrible, no good, very bad scales on people, kill their population. My dominion kills population at a rate of like 1% per turn per candle or something crazy, or 2% or 5%. I don't remember what it is exactly, but it's huge. Like, Ermor's popkill is really, really high. So my candles will kill people very, very quickly. I don't have many dominion spread chances right now because I don't have a prophet and I don't have a god either. So my dominion is not going to spread rapidly right at the beginning, which is fine, because that will give me a few turns to grab income from provinces, and since I'm not spending any of it maintaining mages or temples, or troops, I'll be able to spend it all spamming out temples and forts, which is exactly what I plan to do. We can see here I can't demolish a fort or a lab here. Anyway, in a couple turns we'll get to see what those cost me. They're just standard costs. My forts are standard, my temples are standard. So, it should be interesting. That's all I can do for this turn. Let's talk about my god. This right here is my god, the incredible Mr. Bones, the Statue of War. As you can see, we've got 4 fire, 8 earth, 4 death, and 4 blood. He has 8 dominion. You saw his scales already. He is dormant, so will be coming out after a year. I got attack skills, strength, fire, and shock resistance for my sacreds, withering weapons, a little bit more HP, and strength of the flesh. Now, a little bit more HP isn't terribly relevant for my lictors, because they already have about 20 HP. I have another sacred unit, the Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre, which are free spawn. So lictors I have to summon, Knights are free spawn. Knights have very low HP, like most long dead, but they're long dead heavy cavalry, so they have high protection and 3 attacks, including a lance charge. Withering weapons is really good on them. Strength is really good on lictors and them, and attack skill, of course, boosts both of them. This is not like a huge meme-ish bless, but it's a very solid rainbow bless that will do a lot of damage. And since I get my sacreds very cheaply, and in relatively large numbers, if I can spam out a bunch of temples and forts, it should do pretty good work. Now, the incredible Mr. Bones is a statue, so he is immobile, and he does not have the paths that would ever let him teleport. So in terms of combat, he's going to be regulated strictly to defending the capital. He's also not going to be able to sight search, although he can cast sight searching spells in 4 paths. He is a monster summoner, So he can, so like barbarians will spawn around him. Now they will basically die because I have no supplies in my land. But I mean, okay, it's there. And I have a turmoil domain, so more of them will spawn. He's an innate spellcaster, so he will cast one spell per round in combat no matter what. And of course he's fire resistant, poison resistant, damage resistant, slash and pierce at least. He does take damage from blunt, and he has natural protection 33, counting his earth magic. So he's extremely hard to kill. I can use him as a very, very good defensive bulwark with his huge hit points and huge protection and resistances. I can throw Temper Flesh on him to reduce blunt damage and give him more fire resistance. I can cast all kinds of fun spells with this combination of paths. I can use him to forge boosters. Now, he won't actually be able to boost me in death unless I empower him in death, which I may well do, but since he doesn't have any slots except 2 miscellaneous slots, he can't carry a Skull Staff, and so he can't be Death 5, so he can't forge a Skull Face. That said, I already have Death. Dusk Elders have a chance of randoming Death 4, which will let them forge Skull Faces and boost up higher, and I have such huge Death income from the start of the game that I'll build up Death Gems pretty effectively, although of course I have a million things to spend them on. In any case, I mainly took him because I could fit on Luck 3 and Magic 3 along with this Bless, which is honestly pretty potent and will hurt people a lot because of that decay effect on multiple attacks. And with Lictors with +4 strength will be hitting for over 30 damage, and they will hack through things pretty effectively. He also has a ton of research, so when he pops out, I'll set him to researching whenever I have nothing else for him to do. And he'll boost my research pretty well. In Magic 3, my research will be quite good, and which is important. So, that is the start of a brand new Dominions 5 game, and a very interesting one it will be. So, take care, I'll see you in turn 2. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Malpractice, turn 2 of the Middle Age Ermor game. So, Proclamation from Ermor. Oh, I forgot to rename my prophet. Man, he's just Grave Soul. Shoot. Oh well, Grave Soul the Censor is now the prophet of the incredible Mr. Bones, Divine Smith, the maker of mountains, Tower of Strength, the unmoving master, he who is at the center. Pythium, Faclius the Centurion, that is, funnily enough, that is actually a native name. He didn't make that up. The prophet of Test God, please ignore. That is a nature god. Man, Robin the Royal Forester. Oh, Robin Hood. The Prophet of Hunting Accident, Prince of Grasses, Grain, and Reed, the Hidden One. So that's nature, and I'm not sure what that is. Possibly air. Günther the Spy shall not hereby be known as the Prophet of Iron Fudge. This is, I've played with this guy before. The Mountain Lord, King of Strength, no surprises there. Earth. Agartha, Geiseric the Cave Captain, Prophet of Mincook Gangskastor. I don't know what that's supposed to be. King of Primordial Waters, Lord of Earthquakes, King of the Waves. See, I think this guy went for, Middle Age Agartha has those statues. I think he went for quickness and reconstruction. At least reconstruction, possibly also some reinvigoration or something. So he's got quickness statues, which are pretty tough. Lord of Light Electric Man. The Venerosian Hearst, Prophet of Reactor Lizard, Caution, No Bunking. The King at the Crossroads, Patron of Necromancers, Guide of Souls. So we got some death in there. Chuniyama, Tongpo the Bakemono Scout, Prophet of Bolo Yung, the Breathmaker, Master of the Soil, Banner of Victory, Patron of Artisans. So we've got air, earth, nature possibly? Ashtod, Troubadour the Fortifier, King of Suffering. I believe that's earth and blood. So he's probably got Blood Surge or possibly Blood Bond. He might have gone Fortitude Blood Bond, which would make his Anakites not very killy, but incredibly tough. Uruk, we've got an Enkidu Commander, Prophet of Bartleby the Scrivener, Lord of Forgiving the Earth Monster. That's an Earth God. And Relay, the Prophet of Grim, the Power Perverse God of the Forest that Thirsts. I have no idea what those titles indicate. Okay, and a message from Agartha. The Water 9 is just water breathing, no need to be worried. Ha! Nah, he's gone quickness. He's absolutely taken quickness. Okay, so Mr. Etter is beginning to research, but he's actually going to need to revive a Spectator. So with my 10 Earth Gems per month, I'll be able to keep that up for a little while. Grave Soul has become my prophet. So you see, I just free spawned a whole bunch of units here, including one Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre. So, all of my Skelemen are going to go in a squad. We're going to set them in a line formation. Headed down like that, and we're going to have them fire, because they do mainly have javelins they can throw. These guys are actually quite solid infantry, to be honest. They have the low hit points that all Long Dead have, but the Long Dead Principes actually have pretty decent stats, high protection, good defense skills, and then Long Dead, not Long Dead Principe, I want the spear guy, there he is. Long Dead Triarius have high protection and long weapons they can repel with that also do pretty decent damage. So they're quite solid. And then this is a Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre, and it is basically a Long Dead heavy cavalry. 17 protection, good attack, very high defense, as most heavy cavalry have, and 3 attacks, Lance Charge, Broadsword, and the Hoof Trampling attack. So an attack bless works really well on them. So you are going to cast Unholy Blessing, then you're going to cast Protection of the Sepulchre, and since that's magic resistance negates easily, what that does is it gives all the undead that it hits +4 magic resistance, but they have to fail a magic resistance check first to be affected by it. There's also a Holy Force spell, Power of the Sepulchre, which gives everybody extra movement speed and attack, which is the same effect as Unholy Power, but Unholy Power is only AoE 5. So we're going to spam out Protection of the Sepulchre for the rest of our rounds. Grave Soul will be up there. We'll take this one guy, we'll set him way up there, and we will have him hold and attack rear to try and assassinate commanders. Excuse me. So, heavy cav and heavy infantry down there, heavy infantry and heavy cav over there, light militia and heavy infantry. And up there we've got Lion Tribe, but 100 units. Wow. This is a tough room. We're gonna go that way. That heavy cav is gonna hurt us bad, but we need to start expanding as quickly as possible. Of course, we have nothing to recruit. We have no possible way to recruit anything, and we are just going to research-wise. I'm gonna go down Conjuration to get Conjuration 3. That will let me cast the Lictorian Guard spell to summon multiple lictors. Although to be honest, I already have Revive Lictor, which is less efficient but can still be done. So what I might want to do is I might want to go straight down Enchantment, at least to get Revive King, because not having enough commanders, Ermor does free spawn Mound Kings, undead commanders, but not enough of them. You always need more commanders to run around collecting your free spawn and using it, otherwise you end up with hundreds and hundreds of units just sitting around doing nothing. So I might go down Enchantment. Basically, here's the thing. I have Death 2 mages. What I need to figure out is how do I get combat magic online quickly, because Death 2 is literally all the magic I'm going to have for a while. Construction will help, because that'll boost me up to Death 3, but other than that, I think you pretty much have to get to level 5 before you get any useful combat magic. I could get on Evocation first to get Shadow Bolt. And then at level 4 I would get Bolt of Unlife, and at level 5 I get Shadow Blast. Going down Construction would also help. It would give me the Black Laurel, which allows me to raise lictors 3 at a time. I forget if the Black Laurel is Construction 4 or Construction 2. 1 second. Sorry, just looking up. I need to pull open the inspector here because, as I said, I've never played Ermor in Dominions 5. I've never played a multiplayer game of Dominions 5 with them, so I do not quite remember. Okay, it's Construction 2, and it's 10 Death Gems. So, given that, I may actually just want to go straight down to Construction 2. Why don't I get okay, yeah, let me rejigger here. I'm gonna grab Enchantment 2. Does Thaumaturgy give me anything good in death? It gives me Terror. Terror would be a great spell. We won't go that way yet. We'll get Enchantment 2, we'll get Construction 2, and then we'll reassess. Spectators are pretty good researchers, but I do have to summon them. So they take gems and they take time. Of course, I will get more gems as I build temples, and I will be building temples as quickly as I can. Unfortunately, I need sensors in order to build temples, and I need spectators in order to research and cast spells. So I can certainly revive sensors, and I probably will be doing that. Actually, yeah, what am I doing? I can revive sensors. I can revive sensors. I don't need Mound Kings. Mound Kings are very slightly cheaper, but sensors are better. They're better leaders. So let's just grab Construction 2, and then we'll go down not Enchantment. What was I thinking? Construction 2, so that I can spam out Lictors 3 at a time. That will be good, because Lictors are my toughest unit and my biggest deterrent against being rushed. Then I will need... I'll need Construction 4 in order to build Skull Staffs, but first I think I'm going to want to spam my way down Enchantment. Just bomb down Enchantment to get Horde of Skeletons. If I can get Horde of Skeletons by, like, the beginning of year 1... Well, I mean... Because the thing is, I already have so many skeletons. Horde of Skeletons is honestly not my very first priority. But of course, more skeletons are always better, and level 5 also gives me Pale Riders, which is a great little summoning spell. Oh dear. Have to make choices, have to make decisions, gotta make calls. I'm gonna go down Thaumaturgy, I'm gonna get Terror. And then, after that... we'll get Construction 4 and then Evocation... Well, we can't do that. Okay, we'll get Construction 4 anyway. That'll carry me at least through into year 1 pretty deep. So, that's going to be my turn. So yeah, nation-wise, we never actually looked at the nations and pretenders. We have Is, Relay, Atlantis, so these are all underwater nations. 3 underwater nations. Uruk, Ashdod, Shinuyama, Vanarus, Agartha, Ulm, Man, and Pythium. Of these nations, I'm a little bit scared of Pythium. They don't have death magic, but they do have powerful communions. I am very scared of Ashdod, because Ashdod has the option, if they start next to me, which I believe they do, because the starts on this game are set. I believe they can pretty much just rush me down. Especially if they've taken a really heavy blessing on these Anakites. They can just rush me down, and there's almost nothing I can do about it. Like, my Lictors are the only thing that can potentially combat Anakites. And it's gonna be rough fighting Anakites. If I'm summoning Lictors at 3 gems each, fighting Anakites will be bad news bears. Now, Holy 3 mages, like Gravesoul is, can... reanimate Lictors for free at 1 per turn. It's not much, but it is free. That said, I need Gravesoul to be moving out to take provinces right now. I have to take provinces because more provinces equals more free spawn for me, and free spawn, I will live or die on my free spawn. More provinces also equals more income, and I need to take provinces that make money before my Dominion destroys them, which it will do. It will kill the population at an excessively rapid rate and convert them basically into ghouls and soulless. So the way it works is so the population drops every turn pretty significantly. Until the population reaches 0, a province will free spawn mainly ghouls and soulless. Once the population hits 0, it will continue free spawning mainly soulless until the unburied corpses number reaches 0, and after that it will spawn only long dead, but it will continue to spawn long dead for the rest of the game. As Ermor, mercenaries require twice as much for me to hire, and I'm not even really going to bother trying. I need that money because I need to build temples, which increase my free spawn, and I need to build forts. Forts really increase my free spawn. So forts increase the quantity of free spawn, temples increase the quality, and specifically, you need temples in order to have a decent chance to spawn Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre, your free spawn sacreds, which are pretty good. Like, they may only have 6 hit points, but they are darn tough. They are darn good. And with Withering Weapons especially, these may also be a relatively viable anti-Anakite strategy. Assuming those Anakites don't have a bless that makes them so killy that they just murder their way through an army before I can accomplish anything. But we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. What I'm hoping is I'll be able to take this and then move down like this and kind of move around. It doesn't completing my cap circle doesn't matter much because resources, recruitment points don't matter to me. All that matters is income, and that is not determined by proximity to a fort. It's just determined by connection. So we are going to try and just cut our way through here. It'll be an adventure. As Ermor, what you have to do is you have to convince at least 1 or 2 of the people who are next to you not to attack you. Via bribery, threats, whatever it takes, you just have to convince them not to attack you. And if you can do that, if you can manage to convince them not to attack you, you'll be alright. It's interesting that I spawned here in this game, because in my test game I spawned here. And that seemed to be where I was expected to spawn. So I don't know why I'm up here in the actual game on Llama server. But in any case, maybe that means the starts have been shuffled, because I believe if the other starts from my test game are correct, Ulm is right over in this area. Ashdod is like right there. Because in my test game, I played through about the first year and a half as Ermor here. And Ashdod was right over here. And I managed to... My troops worked very well, actually, at killing unblessed Anakites, because the AI took a dumb, like, the only bless it took was Farcasting. Against heavily blessed Anakites, they will not do nearly so well. But if I can use Ulm as a buffer, then I'll probably be fine. This is going to be an interesting game because it has a lot of water. There's quite a bit of water here. And there are 3 underwater nations plus Agartha that will all be competing over the water. Now, I can also go underwater because all of my troops are poor amphibians. That does mean they take significant penalties underwater, but I have the numbers. I can just swarm underwater provinces down, which is what I'll do eventually. I'll take at least these 2, and probably that one. Ideally also that one once I expand that far south, but water provinces tend to be high income, and it's also hard to spread dominion underwater, which from my perspective is good because that means that they will last longer. They'll give me more income for a longer period of time. But my strategy is, of course, going to be mainly determined by diplomacy. I fully expect to have at least 1 person attack me in year 0. That's what happens when you play Ermor. Unless the people surrounding you are just completely blasé and not worried about you at all, it will happen. They're going to come attack me because if they let me go, I'll turn into a nightmare. So, my goal is basically to secure a flank so that I can fight on all the other fronts. And, to be honest, this may be a short game for me. This may be a game in which I get eliminated really, really early. Because Ermor draws aggro from everybody, and boy, I have trouble enough fighting 1 player at a time, let alone 2 or 3 or 4. But we'll see how it goes. So yeah, research-wise, I'm going to rush up to where I can spam out lictors if I need to, which I will need to. Like, that's not an if, that's a when. That's a guarantee. I will... After that, I'll head down Thaumaturgy to get Terror, to back up my undead armies, and then I'll get Skull Staffs, and who knows what. This may change, this part may change, this part's locked in stone, pretty much. And we'll see how it goes. My god should be waking up around the beginning of year 1. Once my god wakes up, I'll have a guaranteed way to summon Specters. Not Specters. Dusk Elders, which are my high quality mages with randoms. And Archbishops, which are Holy 3. Archbishops can free spawn lictors. They can free spawn multiple long dead horsemen. And, of course, they can claim thrones, they can move around, they can build temples, and they are very, very good undead commanders. So that will be the plan. For right now, I'm just going to pump out a few spectators in order to have some research going. And to have more summoners if I need to, so that if I need to, I can crap out like 5 sensors or 3 or 4 sensors in a turn. Bishops can also free spawn, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to start grabbing some bishops at some point here. They're holy 2, and they can spawn reasonable numbers of undead. They're a lot like Mound Fiends in terms of the quantity of undead they can spawn. In fact, I think they're identical. But for right now, we need to get a couple more mages, and then we can pump out a few bishops in order to magnify our free spawn. But that is going to be turn 2. I think we've pretty much talked at different times about all these factions we have here. Yeah, I believe so. Except possibly Middle-Age Relay. Middle-Age Relay has a lot of astral magic. They've got a lot of randoms, including Earth and Death, so they can form communions to some extent. They've got these slave mages, which are actually quite powerful for how cheap they are. And they include 1 random. Troop-wise, most of their troops are slaves and not very impressive. Lobo Guard. Lobo Guard are mindless magical beings, and they're weak, but they're just dirt cheap, incredibly cheap. Relay can afford to spam literally hundreds of Lobo Guard in any given army. And then they have the Meteorite Guard. These are the opposite. These are kind of the elite slave troops. They do have high morale despite being slaves. And they have high protection and high damage magical attacks. So they're actually pretty solid. And then they've also got these little hybrid dudes who are, I don't know, they're interesting kind of. What else? What else? Uruk, we've seen Uruk before. We haven't really seen Is. Is is an interesting nation. It's underwater, but they really, really want to be on land. They're Morvark Knights here. This is the underwater form. They turn into a different form when they're on land, and they can breathe fire on land. So on land, Morvark Knights are pretty powerful. Here's the thing, they cost as much as Anakites do, and they actually cost more recruitment points. And they're not that good. Otherwise, they've got this Kurno cavalry that they can recruit on coasts. They can recruit all these various Kurnus who are like Marverni tribes. So they're, yeah, basically these are like Marverni troops in the Middle Age. They're pretty solid. They're not bad. Magic-wise, Is has a lot of air, a lot of water, some earth, but primarily air and water. Their Isian druids have randoms that may include astral and nature. And they also have these swan herd things that can free spawn swans. But, swans are garbage, so there's not really any point to those. And they have these Kurno druids who give them reliable astral access in coastal forts. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. You do have some limited communion potential, but mainly it's just water and earth. And their national gem income is water, air, and earth. They are fairly cap reliant. Champions, princesses, sorceresses, and knights are all cap only. And sorceresses are slow to recruit. So are princesses, actually. Champions are not, but champions are also sort of garbage, magically speaking. So, Yis typically does not win. They're not a strong nation, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I would anticipate that Yis will be killed by one of the other underwater nations, or at least driven out of the water onto land. But we'll see how it goes. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 3. Early summer, as we see if we can manage to take a province next turn. See you then. Okay, turn 3, Malpractice. I have revived a Spectre. Atlantis has announced a prophet. A consort. Prophet of the Everlasting Father, Guardian of the Tablets of Destiny, Dispenser of Fate, Fountainhead of Order, the Undeceivable God. I think that's high astral. And a battle in Anasia. Let's see how my little skelemen did. So I've got my line of skeletons up front. I've got my 1 Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre. They've got a pretty decent sized pack of heavy cav plus their heavy infantry. So with my Unholy Blessing, my Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre goes up to Strength 15, Attack 15, and has Decay Weapons plus 1 extra hit point, which is actually about 15% for him. So he starts to hit pretty dang hard. This Hoof just doesn't get any bonus, but the Lance and the Broadsword both do. So let's see how well my skeletons do against this heavy cav. I'm going to guess not great. But the Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre should do pretty well. And yeah, they're routed. So, the nice thing about Ermor is some of their units cause fear. Although I guess they just routed. Do the Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre have fear? No? There's something that has fear. They're just mindless. Okay, well, that went better than I expected. So, we lost 4 dudes, and we murdered them all. Great. We have our first expansion province, and as you can see, we immediately started spawning guys. Some Soulless and a Ghoul. I'm not going to pick them up just yet. We also have our spawn from Ermor. Right now, what I need to do is, I need to revive another Spectator, and I would like to revive a Censor as well, because of course, since I can't recruit commanders, I have to summon commanders. Grave Soul, Barbarians, and then 110 Deer Tribe. Wow, that's a lot. Grave Soul, can you get there in 1 turn? No. Can you get here in 1 turn? 2 Dark Vines. Income 48. Income 73. The issue, as Ermor kind of is, when you have provinces that you have expanded your dominion into, you kind of have to grab them as quick as you can. Because otherwise, they will lose all their income, and then you won't be able to use it. So, let's go there. We're going to recruit another Censor. Then we'll take those units probably over this way. And then maybe move Grave Soul up here, then down to pick up the rest of the Knights that we've spawned, and then hit here, and then take this farm. That would be good. I will, as I said, free spawn Mound Kings every now and then. I'm going to put in 1 point of province defense just so I have a Mound King here. Since he's an undead leader, he will be able to lead all the free spawn undead if somebody attacks me. So, I mean, one particularly trollish strategy would actually be just to go underwater. Can I not go underwater? Oh, Censors aren't amphibious. Interesting. Okay. That's fine. Only skeletons are amphibious. Then they are poor amphibians, but they do work underwater, so Ermor can attack through the water. And there are some islands here in the water that might be interesting to get after. That said, there's kind of going to be a lot of water competition. So I might, going into the water wouldn't, like, help me a huge amount. Well, we'll see. Let's take couple provinces here. Yeah, 70 Lion Tribe. Lion Tribe should not do very well against my skeletons. And it's mainly Lion Tribe archers, which really shouldn't do well against my skeletons because I do have tower shields. So yeah, should be okay. And then we'll just kind of keep bouncing around. Yep, so that'll be the turn. Right now we're just reviving people. We're not doing any research just yet, but we will be doing research pretty quickly. So thanks for watching, and I will see you all in turn 4. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is turn 4 of Ermor. Ha, rhymes. In any case, in terms of messages, we've revived another Spectator, another Mage, and a Censor, another leader, because I haven't spawned any. Yis has declared a prophet. There was a battle in Rim Mountains, and we can watch that. So this is my little expansion undead army. They're just charging forward in a line. Of note, they don't heal. Low hit points means that's not much of an issue, but it is kind of an issue. We're fighting a whole bunch of Lion Tribes, so we dropped Unholy Blessing on our Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre. Our Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre, I should say. And our infantry are just advancing in the way they do. Then our knight's going to go charge in. The infantry have moved forward to throw their javelins. That knight is going to go in alone against these guys back here. And of note, is this Lion Tribe Witch Doctor back here with his 1 nature. So this Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre charges in. He's doing some stabbing, but he gets hit from behind by the Lion Tribe warriors, and, of course, my Bless does not include any defensive upgrades. So he's got a defense value of 3 right now because he's been entangled, and as a consequence, he actually gets stabbed to death here. Meanwhile, my infantry charge forward, and they are going to make a right hash out of these Lion Tribe. So the Lion Tribe are defeated and routed, and my infantry win, but I lost my knight. A moment of silence for the Knight of the Unholy Sepulchre. Actually, no moment of silence. He can't appreciate it because he's a mindless skeleton animated by dark magics. So I've taken another province. I'm at 3 provinces on turn 4. A little bit slower than I would really like, but given that I don't have an awake, probably inevitable. We're going to try and take 2 provinces this turn. Grave Soul is leading his army up here to grab a province that appears lightly guarded and also is not in my dominion, and so is not dying. So I might get some money out of it. Imik here, or Imik, or Yumuk, or whatever, he's leading an army down here to take this province, which is high income still, and has some heavy cavalry and heavy infantry, but relatively few. So I should be able to wipe it out pretty quick. I'm keeping an eye on this province. It said it had 100 units last time, now it says it has 70. If it dips below that, that will mean that it has, like, actually 60 or 70 units, which I might be able to take, since it's just Deer Tribe. I probably have to build up a little bit. My free spawn is happening over here, so I've spawned some random shitty soulless and a couple of ghouls, which aren't terrible. No free spawn here just yet. My free spawn here was pretty significant and includes 6 more Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre. I can't bless them because Ymik is sacred but not a priest, but he can set them to attack rear, while my infantry serve as a distraction. So that is the plan there. This turn we are reviving 1 more Spectre. Next turn, I need to get started building temples, like, right away, both because they generate death gems for me, and because they spread my dominion and make me spawn more. That said, I also need to take provinces because I need money. I have 752 gold right now, so what I could do is I could build a temple. Temples upgrade your free spawn a little bit. Forts upgrade your free spawn more. Like, forts are what make you spawn the Romans, I believe, as opposed to primarily soulless and ghouls. The combination of temple and fort is what makes you spawn Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre. And upgrading my death gem income would be really good. So I think what I'll probably do is I'm probably actually going to build a temple here. So I'm going to build the temple. Ymik will go take this province. He should be able to take it with his 30 infantry and 6 knights. If I wanted to be really fancy, I could form a second line of Triarius, but I'm not that fancy. I'm just putting them in a line and let them go. Then Ymik will build a temple here. Next turn, well, he won't be able to build a temple. I'll be up to 500. How much does a temple cost me? 400. He will be able to build a temple, so he'll build a temple there, while Gravesoul goes and takes this province with the small amount of extra spawn that I get. And then I'll be able to kind of roll on. I'll summon a 3rd commander, a 3rd censor, assuming I don't spawn a Mound King anywhere, which I probably won't. And then I will send that group off, probably in this direction. I might join up with this army in Ukraima to take Omiya and push onward. I'm starting to get a feel for where people are. I still haven't really tested this map, but I believe, I don't know who it is, but somebody is down below me in province number 4, right there. I believe this is Ashdod. This should be Ashdod. Pythium is way over here, about as far away as somebody can be in Province 1. Yis must be in the water somewhere, and I don't know exactly where. However, funnily enough, Yis is clearly role-playing because they sent a message to everybody. And basically, they are trying to raise a coalition against me, which is not hard to do. Raising a coalition against Ermor is pretty much the easiest thing in the game, because everyone hates Ermor. I am going to try to raise a counter-coalition of people who don't want to fight me. Or, well, less a coalition, and more like, hey, don't invade Ermor, and I promise I won't aggressively build temples at you. So, Because basically, I mean, not invading Ermor puts you in a much better position vis-a-vis the people who invade Ermor, especially if you then go and fight those people who are invading Ermor and steal territory from them. It's destructive in the long term, because the more Ermor gets to survive, the more of the map is destroyed and becomes worthless to anyone. But that said, I may be able to persuade people to go along with it, at least in the... Basically, what you have to do as Ermor is you have to play the devil. You have to play the devil on somebody's shoulder, persuading them to do something that benefits them in the short term at a potential long-term cost, which isn't too hard because people are bad at weighing long-term risks. And as long as you can get them as long as you can convince them about the short-term benefits, often there's somebody that'll go along with it. And all you really need is one or two. Ermor can defend itself pretty handily. So long as you don't get ganged up on by everyone. Like, I imagine, like I said, there's somebody down here. There's somebody over here. There's going to be somebody over here. And there's going to be somebody up here. So I have 4 directions on land to defend myself from, and then I probably also have a water nation over here somewhere that's going to be gunning for me. So, as long as I don't get ganged up on by 5 people at once, I may be able to pull it off. I can probably, with my free spawn and all, I can probably hold off 2 or 3 opponents. Especially if I can hold off till my god gets out and I start cranking up some Archbishops of Eldragate to cast Divine Blessing, and some Dusk Elders to cast bigger spells. I am definitely going to want those Black Laurels so that I can spam out Lictors right, left, and center, but I need more Death Gem income before I can really effectively do that, because what I want is I want to be able to continue summoning a Spectator per turn, if not more. Yeah, if I can keep up about a Spectator per turn, I'll have to hold off on it next turn, because next turn I'm only going to end up with 10 Death Gems, and it costs 12 to revive a Spectator, so I'll spam out probably like 2 or 3 Censors and maybe a Lictor in that turn to kind of help with my ongoing commander issues. And then I'll set those guys to traveling around, collecting free spawn and building forts and temples. I'm worried about Ashdod. I'm worried that Ashdod is going to decide to just kind of happily march up here and try to kill me with meme-blessed Anakites, but there's not much I can do about it. So, I am going to compose probably a message in-game to go back against Yis, to an extent. Or maybe not. I might just I usually conduct most of my diplomacy over Discord anyway. We'll see how it goes, but in any case, this is my plan for next turn. 1 province there, building a temple. I'll build a temple here next turn and take another province. I'll continue expanding at a rate of at least 1 province per turn. And as long as I can get up to, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 provinces by the end of year 0, I'll be in okay shape. More provinces do directly relate to more troops for me, but the correlation between temples and troops and gems is much stronger. So it's not territory I need so much as it is gems and temples and forts. That said, I do need to keep conquering new territory because all of those things take money, and my money drops off super quick. With my death scales, I'm losing 0.6% of my population every turn, and I'm losing, I think it's 5% per candle. I believe it's 5% per candle per turn. So my Dominion goes up. As it goes up, it increases my free spawn. It also kills people off right, left, and center. You can see I already have 600 corpses in Ermor, and that's with the decrease every turn. And I've got corpses everywhere in my Dominion. So, in any case, that's turn 4, and I'll see you all in turn 5. Alright, folks, Malpractice turn 5. The further expansion of the Evil Empire. That is my message that I sent out. You can read it. It's fairly overdramatic. But, I felt overdramatic. I revived another Spectator. Unexpected event. Ooh, found some air gems. That's that Luck 3, Magic 3 going on for me. And Ukrema. Let's see how we did. Probably can take these guys. I think my Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre are about to run into these heavy cav. Knights have a little more protection, a little more defense skill, and better attacks. Significantly better attacks. I'm sorry, more attack skill, not defense skill. Defense skill is the same. They do have fewer hit points, though, so that's a little bit worrisome. Oh, nope, they're going into the infantry, and we are going into the troops in the rear, so great. Excellent, we won. We lost 1 legion, we lost 8 dudes, which is, yeah, that's a fine trade. So, and we've got a temple here, so you can see our free spawn increased just a little bit. We are going to put all those guys, that's right, these guys are non-mindless. We'll leave the ghouls. And we'll put the soulless up front as chaff. So, we've taken this province. Great. Up here, we're free spawning even more. We have 11 death gems because we built a temple. We're going to build another temple. You are going to cast... Can't revive a Spectator, could revive an Acolyte, who could then reanimate forever. And is a holy commander. Might be worth it. Let's do it. Let's revive an Acolyte, and then you just research. And then next turn I'll get 12 death gems, and so I'll be up to 13, and I'll be able to revive another Spectator. So we've got Wolf Tribe, Light Infantry, Militia. Let's go take out the Light Infantry and Militia real quick. And next turn we'll revive a Censor to lead another army. Light Infantry, Militia, and Heavy Infantry. 21 units and 6 attack rear. Can I do it? I think I probably can. Oh, but you're building a temple. Never mind. Never mind me. What am I saying? Actually, instead of an Acolyte... No, revive an Acolyte, because then you'll be able to take these guys down, and you'll be able to bless them as well, so that will help. Okay, great. So that will be the turn for us. Still only 4 provinces on turn 5. We'll be going up to 2 provinces a turn starting next turn, so not fantastic expansion, but okay expansion, acceptable expansion. Expansion that will accelerate as we recruit yet another expansion party and launch it into the wilds. And from there, we will proceed apace. So, I'll see y'all in turn 6.